My audio sound good?
You're all good. We're live.
Yes, you're good, dude.
Bet. What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 8 of the MMAHOLIcs. Thank y'all so much for joining us. Today we are doing our UFC 297 preview. We are going to do the breakdown with a man, Manny, from MMA Fight Club. I can see him right over here. He's been on the show before, and he's a near dear friend of ours, and he does great content himself over at his own YouTube channel. You can go check him out at MMA Fight Club. They do a wide variety of shows, multiple times of the weeknight, and they just do good content, and they're really nice people, always replying to questions in the chat. And yeah, Manny, how you doing today, man? You good?
Can't complain, dude. I'm in the Northeast, so it's icy, it's cold, but I'm inside, and I have nothing to complain about. I'm here with you guys, so I'm good.
Oh, no, I feel you, man. And y'all already know my co-host, Nikki. How you doing, bro? You good today, man?
I'm good, man. Good. Ready for our first pay-per-view of the year. We started out with the great fight night, so here we go.
Of course, yeah, definitely. And yeah, man, I'm definitely liking to look at this one. And yeah, I feel you, Manny. Like, yo, saying it's cool. Yeah, I'm in Atlanta, as I always say, and like it was just 18 degrees here the other night. So like, yeah, that was pretty insane. It doesn't normally get that low, maybe around like 30 or 40, but not like 15 or 10 degrees, But at least we weren't on no Kansas City stuff, like no -4 degrees, and, stuff like that. But yeah, thank y'all so much for joining us today. We were gonna go ahead and start with our UFC 297 preview. We got a special guest, so we were going to start from the top and go to the bottom. So that means we're going to start out with the main event of UFC 297, and that is Sean Strickland versus Strickland du Plessis. And y'all already know we got a main event, so I was going to let my boy Nikki do Strickland and my man Manny do Dricus, and we'll come back with the picks. Go ahead, Nikki. You have the middleweight champion of the world, bro.
Yeah, so we got Sean Strickland fighting the middleweight champion. He was a former welterweight in his career when he came into the UFC. He had an early fight against Kamaru Usman before they both got very well. That was at welterweight. Then once he moved up to middleweight, he had some great wins. He fought Brandon Allen, who we know is really good. He fought Uriah Hall, who we know has those devastating kicks, and that's an impressive win. One thing that you'll notice a lot with Sean Strickland, he wins a lot by decision. And as his career progressed, it was even more. He had a few knockouts early on, but then it became more decisions. He beat Jack Hermanson by decision. Lost to Alex Pereira, which jumped Alex up very high in the middleweight. Also lost to Jared Cannonier by decision. And then he also fought Abus Magomedov, who was an up-and-coming Dagestan. There was a lot of hype behind him. He completely dominated that fight. He won that one by knockout. And then his last fight, he got that middleweight title fight. Dricus du Plessis, who he's fighting this weekend, had to pull out due to an injury. So he stepped in. He was the number 7th ranked middleweight, I'm pretty sure. And this is one of the biggest upsets of all time in UFC championship history. Sean Strickland, very famous for his Philly shell. It's a very defensive position in striking. You don't see him engage in a lot of jiu-jitsu, a lot of sprawling, but he has great takedown defense, and he's really good at just feathering his opponent, punching him, countering. So that's his style. Man, you could take Dricus.
All right, so for Dricus, here's a guy who I initially was fading. I thought he was a bit overrated in his last few fights, especially going against Robert Whittaker. I thought, that was Whittaker's fight to win. Whittaker had fought better guys. Dricus has shown some signs at times where he kind of fades. It's like a midway point of the fight, he fades, then regains his cardio. It's like he kind of, it's hard to explain. If you've seen it before, you know what we're talking about. Now, supposedly he had like a surgery, got the nose or nasal thing done, couldn't breathe out of one of his nostrils before, so I guess now he's doing better. But we don't have any proof of that. Like, he didn't go a long-range fight with Whittaker. He went to, second round, finished the fight. So we don't know for sure if it goes to 4 or 5 rounds, how his cardio will sort of, shore up. He's also like a very built guy. He's got like these bigger, broader shoulders, a lot of muscles. So there's obvious questions there with Dricus du Plessis. But in my humble opinion, I do believe he hits harder than Strickland. Now, Strickland's not the kind of guy who's known for his one-punch power. He's just not. He's a volume guy. He'll drown you with volume. Also measures distance and cardio. So he'll lose the first round like he did against Abus. Well, I'm going to argue Abus won the first round, but Sean knew the deal. He understood the assignment. Let's take this guy to round 2 or 3, and Abus just melted anyway. A good win for Strickland, a tactical win, honestly, but it didn't, again, show his punching power. On paper, knockout, but we all saw the fight. We know how it went down. So I don't see Strickland knocking out Dricus in rounds 1 or 2. I would see him winning in rounds 4 or 5, or maybe by decision, right? That would be my mentality if I'm on Strickland. But I'm on Dricus du Plessis. I believe the script here in my mind is that Dricus will hit him harder in rounds 2 or 3 and eventually clip him. Now, Pereira's not a fair example because Pereira is a light heavyweight that was masquerading as a middleweight. The guy is a 240, 250 in real life and then cuts massive weight. So of course he knocked out Strickland. I just think that fighting style of Strickland with his hands up here like this, and I spar all the time stuff, it's gonna have its day. And I think this might be that day on Saturday where Dricus clips him. So I'm on Dricus to win. I like him by a round 3-ish, round 4 knockout. But I'm not going to bet my mortgage on it. I just think that's a possibility. And I think that Sean Strickland, his only path to victory would be just, again, chipping away, light punching, lacking punching power, and then winning the cardio game, which does make sense too. So, that's where we're at here. I actually like the dogs, a lot of dogs on this card. So this is just one of them. I'm on Dricus.
Now I feel you. Yeah, Nikki, you can go ahead and give your pick second, bro.
Yeah, so for me, I'm actually one of the few people that picked Dricus for the International Fight Week. That was my highlight of my life right there. Right? I picked the big underdog against Rob. But man, when I first started, watching, I think my first card was the Dricus versus Till fight, and I picked Till, and then I just kept picking against Dricus. And it really, when you pick against someone, it really makes you realize how good of a fighter they are. And This one, I'm gonna take Dricus again, but I'm gonna take him by submission. Now, I know I did say Sean has great takedown defense, but the thing with Sean is he tries to get right back up. He doesn't engage in any jiu-jitsu. What I saw in that last fight was when he tripped. He grabbed Rob and just took his leg down, and he was gonna I think he'll get right on top of Sean. I think he can maybe pull out an arm triangle or something. I think this can be a submission, and it's just a big shock. So I'm taking Dricus. I think maybe a round three, possibly a championship, round 4 submission.
I can't believe we're on the same side, dude. I gotta say that because I thought based upon your breakdown, you were gonna be on Strickland's side.
Oh man, listen. Once I locked in with that Rob Whitaker pick that I got Dricus right, I'm going Dricus probably for the rest of his career, man. I got it.
Wow, you caught me off guard there, man.
But
Great
I
setup.
do like Dricus. It's his unorthodoxness in his fighting. That's what's really important to take here. Sean Strickland spars, and everyone's like, "Oh, he spars everyone. He's a fighter." Okay, but how many people come into that gym and just do weird stuff? A lot of people. He probably really disciplines them. Don't fight like that. Fight like this. He trains them when they're there at Extreme Couture. So I think Dricus is just gonna do random stuff. And you said that cardio can be a problem with him, and it comes on and off. And that's fine because Sean walks you down, but he doesn't pound. He does pounds, but it's on and off. So Dricus has time to regain, and I just think that'll be big for him in this fight.
Yeah. Great breakdown, gentlemen. Like always. Yeah. I'll go ahead and get my pick now. Yeah, I was gonna go the other way, man. I was gonna go with Instill. I was gonna go with Sean Strickland. In this fight, man, I'm just really think he's had such momentum coming off that Israel win. He was one of the biggest underdogs in UFC history, and beat one of the greatest strikers in UFC history. I know Israel's not known for his punching power, but he still has a lot of finishes. Finishing Robert Whitaker, of course, just like Dricus du Plessis did, and things of that nature, and finishing Paulo Costa the way Israel did. He's always been known as a really good striker, and Sean came in with a really good game plan and just walked him down with his really good defense, just neutralized a lot of it, dropped him in the first round, took his confidence away, and Israel was never able to recover from that. And I think that just did a divot a lot for Sean's confidence. His confidence is especially like him in the training room. We saw him training with Magomed Ankalaev for his camp, and I think that's definitely going to do A lot of favors for him in the grappling exchanges with Dricus du Plessis, having wrestling, like, grapple with the dude that's, twice his size like that, a whole weight class up, 20 pounds, 20-pound weight difference. And that was Magomed, in the training camp. So he definitely wasn't 205. And then, he was still like, they were still scrambling. Good to go through the motions with a dude like that. A high level fighter like Magomed on Kalive, that also, is evident of the camp that he comes from, with fighters like, for instance, Ngannou over at Extreme Couture, with the head coach Eric Nixick, Dewey Cooper, legendary striking coaches, and really good coaches that come in with really good game plans. And I think Strickland's definitely just like, watching all the embeddeds, watching the countdown. I think the mind frame that he's in right now, I think he's just hit a new level. Just in his confidence too, and like his approach to the fights. He has a lot of experience, 28-5. The fight he lost to Jared Cannonier, people thought he won, of course. The fight could have went either way. That was a close fight with Jared Cannonier. Shout out to Jared Cannonier. He could get a title shot himself, if he just keeps winning. And yeah, man, with Strickland, I just think the biggest thing going for him also is his defense, man. I think he himself is really hard to hit. I think, especially with this forward pressure, I think he has a really good chin, man. Alex Pereira knocked out a light heavyweight in Yuri Prohaska up a weight division. In like we all know he was hurting Jan Blachowicz as well. And like, yeah, I mean, even when it comes to like his striking accuracy, like his strikes landed per minute is 5.82. And like he has a 41% striking accuracy. And I just think that comes from like a lot of volume too. Like he's definitely landing most of the punches that he throws. Of course, we all know it's just not the power with Strickland. And even then he went on to finish a boost Magomedov. Of course, that was to a boost blowing his wad and gassing out, but that was due to Strickland's durability and weathering that storm. Yeah, man. And also Dricus has 84% takedown defense. I don't think, this fight could hit the ground. I think Dricus is really extremely well-rounded. I think Dricus could definitely shoot and try to get him to the ground and choke him out. We saw Boost take Sean Strickland's back, but he was able to grapple out and get the fight back up to the feet. And yeah, man, even, Michael Bisping was saying that, in the training room that Sean Strickland is a good wrestler, a good grappler, like how he'll reverse the exchanges. And like, it's always mainly to get back up to the feet. But he will try to attack submissions. I think Sean's really underrated when it comes to just being well-rounded. And of course on the Dricus side, he definitely has the punching power in this fight. Very aggressive fighter, just like Sean Strickland. This is definitely gonna be a car crash, to be quite honest with you. It's really, for me, it's all about the first round of the fight. How does Sean gonna really weather the storm of that fresh first round Dricus du Plessis with the power in both hands like that? It's not like he has a good right hand that he has to load up. He has power in both hands, and he has good judo as well. But I think Sean's really good too with the grappling. And again, they're gonna be game planning for the hot streak that he's on. Like all that film is out now on Dricus du Plessis. And also the biggest thing about it, like for me, like it's like how Manny mentioned, I do like Sean's cardio in this fight. I think the main events are gonna pay dividends. He did the main event for versus Abus Magomedov, Nasruddin Imavov when you fought him, Jared Cannonier, Israel Adesanya, that was on short notice, and he went 5 rounds. And he snatched the belt. Of course, Dricus was the champion. I think it was KSW. I believe he fought it, and he was champion over there. So he's gone 5 rounds before. So I definitely don't want to just act like Dricus doesn't have that cardio. But I think in terms of the pace and the pressure, we're really going to have to see who can impose their will in this fight. And I think that Sean's going to come through just like the jab, the straight punches is really going to cause Dricus a lot of problems in this fight. In my opinion, I think the straight punch is going to be quick, efficient, and consistent. He can do that all 25 minutes. He did it with a dude with a massive reach advantage, and both these guys have the same reach length. But the biggest thing going against Sean is the power. I do think he can grapple with Dricus du Plessis, and he might even be able to stuff some of the takedowns. I think Sean has really good balance too. And yeah, I mean, this is a close fight. It's a close fight. Dricus du Plessis is a really good fighter, most definitely. This is one of the more well-rounded title fights we've had in recent memory, for sure. Especially in middleweight, where it's really been predominantly strikers. In the title fights and stuff like that. But this is just a really good fight between two well-rounded fighters. And Yeah, I was gonna go with Sean Strickland. I was gonna go with Strickland like a 5th round TKO. I think it's gonna be a war through the first 3 rounds. And I think Sean's just gonna continue to have the defense up in the 4th, and like just take over in the 5th after like just jabbing away at the nose, the body, the way Sean works the body like that. The Philly shell, skinny, like you know how Nikki mentioned, like he'll slip the punches, and really good counter striking too. He's really active. A lot of forward pressure too. And I get it. You know, Israel was backing up with Sean Strickland. Jiggas Plessis is most definitely going to come forward. And I think Sean took a counter striker too. And like he could slip some of them punches. Jiggas has good has good hooks. And Sean has good straight punches with his jabs and stuff, a good combination. So we're going to see how it goes, man. It's a close fight. It's a fun fight. And yeah, also I think Sean has a little bit more experience in this fight. You know, like he has 3 more wins. I mean 3 more losses and 8 more wins. And yeah, man, we're gonna see how it goes. But I said a lot, but I got Sean Strickland, bro. I got Sean Strickland. Thank y'all for your patience. Yeah, it's a great fight, man. Great co-main event. We're gonna see what happens, man. Just a quick side note. I know that a lot of people think like the UFC 300 main event might be Israel Adesanya versus the winner of that fight. We're gonna see what happens.
Yeah.
You know, if Israel can come back and get the title shot, you know, coming off the loss to Sean, you know, it's still a big money fight. You know, is Israel Adesanya really done, or can he come back? You know, of course, that'd be a rather quick turnaround to go from 297 to 300. But who wouldn't want to take that money? And also, you could tell, you know, like it's UFC 300. Everyone wants to fight on that card. All those big names we see on it now. Everyone just wants to tell their kids in the future that they fought at UFC 300. You know. And yeah, y'all, moving on to the co-main event of this card. Of course, we've got 2 title fights, not just one. I can start this one off and let the boys come in later. We're starting now with Raquel Pennington versus Mauro Buenasilva. I can start out with Rocky. Yeah, man, she's been around for so long, been around for forever. The former UFC title challenger. Of course, it didn't go her way at UFC 224, but she's still been here for a really long time, man. And she's fought her way back into another title fight. Really good boxer, good clinch game, good boxing technique. I really do respect Raquel Pennington a lot. You know, like she's really like weathered a lot of storms in her career and like came through like to win a lot of these fights. You feel me? Like, you know, of course, you know, some of the competition isn't really the best right now. You know, Marion Renault, of course, she retired. Benny Kianza was a good win, I thought. Aspen Ladd, you know, like of course they're near the end of Aspen Ladd's UFC tenure. She didn't really look the best, but you know, a win is still a win. Callum Vieira, you know, some people thought that could have went the other way. That was a close fight. Of course, she still won it. And yeah, man, you know, she beat Irene Aldana. Of course, you just saw Irene Aldana have the fight of the year, you know, candidate with Carol Hosa. So that's a good one looking back on it. Of course, even then, that was still a close fight, and that was back in 2019. You know. And yeah, man, but like in terms of her skill set, like I just said, she's a good boxer, good clinch game. She's good when it hits the ground. I think she does have a decently good sprawl. You know, like the way she'll drop down with her hips. I think she has decent hips for sure. A lot of experience for Raquel Pennington as well. One of the most experienced female fighters inside the UFC. And yeah, man, you know, like I do think she's really good. And when she does, you know, her striking accuracy is at 50%. You know, her striking defense is 62. And yeah, her strikes landed per minute are 4.2. And like, yeah, man, she's just really good, man. Like, you know, with her striking game and, you know, how she come through with the hands. And she's named Rocky for a reason, you know, and yeah, you know, good fighter. And yeah, going to her opponent, Mayra Bueno Silva. Yeah, man, she's really good, man. I really do like this girl, man. She came on the scene and really just started taking girls out. You feel me? Like her striking accuracy is 54%. Her strikes landed per minute is 4.16. And yeah, man, like my favorite part of her game, personally, even after mentioning the striking percentages, is her submission game, man. I think she's really good with the submissions. Really good killer instinct with the submissions. I was like, she'll sink the knee bars, the arm bars. The ninja choke on Holly Holm. Of course, that was overturned to a no contest. It was due to like some ADHD medicine, you know, that she was taking, you know, that she really needed, you know. So, but you know, it was still unfortunate that, you know, they took it from her, but the rules are the rules, you know. And, you know, she lost to Manon Fiorot. You know, that was on short notice, you know, I believe that was at flyweight, you know, and like this is her natural home up at bantamweight. And yeah, man, she's really, you know, been fairly consistent throughout her career. You know, she has 2 losses. You know, she did lose to Marina Moroz. You know, she submitted Mara Borella after that. You know, and she had the draw with Montana De La Rosa. But since making the move to bantamweight, I think she's really unlocked her innate potential. You know, adding those extra 10 pounds, you know, not having to cut that extra weight. And in terms of her game, too, man, I think she has really good power in her hands, man. I really like the way she comes forward to strike like that. I think she's really good. You feel me? Like really, really good with the killer instinct. Because I think not many fighters have that, you know, like, you know, male or female. And I think it's special that she has that, you know, Shitada, and like how she'll come through and just be super aggressive, whether it's on the feet or on the ground. You know, like she can either get the fight, you know, to the ground, you know, like, you know, just attacking submissions, like, you know, trying to, like, you know, she can guard if she would like to, you know, really just a wide variety of things she can do inside the octagon. And yeah, man, I think she's really good. I also think one of the biggest things going into this fight for Mayra Bueno Silva, she trains an American Top Team, and like that was the team that Amanda was training at when Amanda Nunes beat Raquel Pennington. So I do think that American Top Team can, you know, like the coaches over there, they have legendary Gemma. Obviously, they have the current flyweight champion Alexandre Pantoja, and you know, like they, you know, really good lineage. You know, good history. And yeah, man, and I really think those coaches, you know, like are really cut from a different cloth, and they're gonna give her a good game plan going to this fight. And yeah, man, like I think it's a close fight, most definitely. Of course, Raquel Pennington has done me kind of way better since the Amanda Nunes fight. But yeah, man, going into this fight for me, I'll go ahead and get my pick first since I gave the breakdown. Yeah, man, obviously, like, yeah, this is a really close fight. Regardless, whatever you want to say, you know, plus 140 for Raquel, minus 170 for Mayra Bueno Silva. Close fight, man, close fight. I'm just looking through my notes, making sure I said everything I needed to say. And I was gonna go with Mayra Bueno Silva in this fight, man. I was gonna go with her to get like a second round submission from Mayra Bueno Silva. I think Raquel Pennington, how she can win the fight is if she just, like, you know, she has to definitely like just really flurry Mayra for like the majority of the fight. She's good at what she does, and matter of fact, she's great at what she does. Raquel Pennington's great at what she does, and we know she could do it for 25 minutes. For me, I guess I'm just betting on like the killer instinct of Mayra Bueno Silva, the aggressiveness. She has a lot of power. She was hurting Holly Holm every time they exchanged in the pocket. And I do think she has a lot of power, man. And she has good submissions off her back. She can do the, like, you know, on the feet, up against the cage, like on top, of course. Like, and like, yeah, man, the way she submitted Stephanie Egger, who's a really good grappler herself, like that, you know. And I just think she's really showing it on this run. And I really love momentum. Of course, both fighters got a lot of momentum going into this fight, you know. But I'm gonna go with Mayra Bueno Silva. She's a little younger in this fight too. Of course, not by much, only 3 years. You know, Raquel, it's definitely still, you could say she's in her prime, seeing the win streak that she's on. But I'm gonna go with Mayra Bueno Silva by second round submission, bro. I think she's gonna, you know, they're gonna exchange in the pocket for the first round. You know, I think that she might have the power difference. We're gonna see the kind of game plan that Raquel comes out with to try to stifle, you know, and neutralize the abilities of Mayra Bueno Silva. And we're gonna see the game plan that American Top Team has for Raquel Pennington, this new Raquel Pennington, you know, with, of course, the whole new fighter with Mayra Bueno Silva. But I still think she has good power. They're going to exchange in that first round. I think she can hurt her. And, like, she might try to adjust in the second, might try to force some wrestling, force some grappling. And I think that Mayra can, like, sync up a submission, whether it's off her back or, like, a guillotine or, like, you know, Kimura, anything like that, you know. And it's a good fight, man. Like I said, you know, it's a really, really good fight. I think people are sleeping on this co-main event. You know, it's sad that Amanda Nunes, of course, is not here anymore. And like, of course, we're forever gonna miss her. But yeah, man, I'm gonna go Mayra Bueno Silva. Who you picking, Nikki? Go ahead, man.
For me, I definitely think the 5 rounds of this fight can be favors Pennington. The thing about Mayra Bueno Silva is I think her wrestling is pretty average. For as great as her submissions are, I don't think her wrestling is good. So that does take an effect on like what submissions can you open up for yourself. Now, Pennington's going to have to make a mistake for her to open that kind of submission arsenal up, right? Like going for a double leg, you open yourself up for a guillotine or something. So that's how I can see a submission happening for Mayra, but I don't.
Also, not even to cut you off, I'm so sorry about that. Yeah. I was gonna say, like, the thing for me, like, and also like, cause you're exactly like you're 100% right in what you said, and like for me, that's what I was saying. Like, even with how I said betting on like her killer instinct, I think how she came through, even with Holly Holman, got that standing ninja choke like that, and like she just pressured her, walked her down, and just got the neck and just choked her out. And she actually attacked it like the first like 30 seconds into the fight. And she just didn't like it. Is what it wasn't successful that first time around. And I think that just stuff like that, like she can attack a submission where on the feet, off her back, against the cage, on top, like just stuff like that. But you're definitely right though in the wrestling, like because Raquel's a very smart fighter, very experienced fighter. It's gonna be hard to try to like back her into a corner and like actually like get her in like that situation. And like please continue. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah. Now, I just don't see Pennington turtling up in this fight at all. I think she's just going to, stand in her stance and she's just going to jab away. Like she's not going to go for knockouts. She's not going to go for, I think she's going to strike. And with the female fighters in the UFC, I notice a lot of things. They're just calm, they're not always looking for the knockout. Maybe they don't have the power, but they're not always looking for the knockout. And I don't think Pennington's going to be like going for takedowns, because if you go for the takedowns, then you're just opening up yourself to possibly getting submitted. Now, I know I said her wrestling isn't good, but that doesn't mean you want to put yourself in a chance to get submitted when you can easily just go 20. I think Raquel can easily, not like this is an easy fight, but she could simply just take her time, 25 minutes, and pull out a decision. And I don't even think it would be split. I think it would be a majority decision, and I see her getting the belt put around her.
Who are you going, Manny, for the co-main event?
I'm on Raquel Pennington, and I got to give this lady a shout out. I mean, number one, she's been around the block. She's fought and defeated Jessica Andrade. She's fought Miesha Tate. She's fought Holly Holm. She's fought some of the baddest girls in mixed martial arts history up to now, which is not on Mayra Bueno Silva's resume. Now, Silva has looked good recently. Very good at submissions. I do acknowledge that. And her path to victory is round 1, round 2 submission for sure. That's if you're betting on Silva, that's the spot you want to be betting on. But Pennington is a very cool customer. She's been through a ton of stuff in her life. She's actually from Colorado, trains in Colorado, which, by the way, elevation and also similar climate, cold as right now in Toronto. So, for her, easier transition for climate standpoint than it is for Silva, who's coming from, I believe, Florida, right? ATT, were much more of a shock to the system. But yeah, Pennington, she suffered a major back injury in high school. Like she did the whole Mike Tyson thing. She broke her back, spinal, like broke the back. Recovered from that to become a mixed martial arts fighter at the highest level. She fought in Invicta FC #2. The second ever Invicta event she fought, and it was a former Invicta champion, obviously moved over to UFC. I've interviewed her before. She's a very cool customer. She's not going to get emotional, get too high, too low, whereas Mayra Bueno Silva admittedly has ADHD. And if you've ever sort of like analyzed the way she responds post-fight, her emotions, the way she responds to the referee, she's very emotional. She responds very like extreme levels of high and low. Over the course of a 5-round fight, I love Pennington here. I think Pennington wins the fight for sure. I'm so confident in that. And I believe over the first, let's say, 7.5 minutes, that first round and a half, Silva will attempt a takedown sloppily because she doesn't have good wrestling. Pennington will defend those takedowns, and then eventually Silva will be laying on her back and telling her, come down here. Referee's going to tell her to get back up. Pennington's going to start piecing her up. Pennington's fought through some major stuff. She's been cut up and bruised up and battered and fought through it. She's a very her moniker, her nickname is Rocky. And
Rocky.
Yeah, that's been her sort of her life. And so having talked to her again, like off the record, on the record, I'm not going against Pennington, not today, not tomorrow, not anytime soon. She is getting long in the tooth, though. She's 35, 3 years older. 35, 32 is a big difference in that age range for females. But she's super tough. I like Rocky here. I like her by a late round 4, round 5 TKO because Silva stops returning fire and balls up, or just Rocky by decision.
Yeah, I get it, man. Yeah, like again, like I said before, I gave the pick. Like in my opinion, it's most definitely a really, really close fight. I'm not gonna lie. I just really like the finishes. Like, man, like, you know, I just like that killer instinct, and not even to sound like redundant when I keep saying that. It's something different. Like when fighters like show that in the cage, man. Like with every punch, like every intent is to like finish the fight and like just coming forward like that. And I think, man, again, like just being an American top team, I think they just like she's coming from such a good camp, and like they're gonna have her prepared for this fight, man. Like I really feel that, and like they got all this footage they can like work with Raquel Pennington, and like she's one of the I respect Raquel so much, man, because like she's been here for so long, and like just like, you know, the injuries she's been through and like the adversity she's fought through and persevered. Like I really enjoy this title fight. You know, I really like this title fight a lot. I'm not gonna lie, it'd be cool to see either of these girls get the belt, in my opinion. I know, like, you know, like how Mara Bueno, so, you know, how she struggles with ADHD and like, you know, her path and like the things she's gone through in her life, and like it'd be really cool for either fighter to get that life-changing victory and get the belt. You know, it's not like this is like a minus 340 plus 500, nothing like that. This like in the minus, like in my opinion, almost minus 110 range. You feel me? Both girls are very good. And yeah, man, we're gonna see how it goes, Brad. You know, that's why we always get Manny here. Y'all is always gonna, you know, give it to us real, you know, always in depth. And yeah, man, that's why I chose Nikki, man. You know, like Nikki's an awesome dude, and always just, you know, giving great breakdowns too. And yeah, man. But yeah, y'all, moving on to the rest of the card. That was the title fights. We are moving on to Neil Magny versus Mike Malott. All right, man, you can have this one first, bro. Go ahead.
Yeah, so Mike Mallett's the big favorite here, which caught my eye. He's minus 355 currently, and he's probably going to win. And I say probably because on paper, a lot of wins in a row, winning streak. The ground game is elite, lots of submissions. He's coached high-level mixed martial arts fighters along the way and kind of had 2 different careers. Early part of his career, some struggles. Now he's kind of got things really on track. He's from Canada. I mean, a lot of things are going for him. But man, minus 355 is a very heavy price to pay if you're betting on him. I like him doing this fight by round 2 submission. That's my prediction. For Neil Magny, here's a guy who's a former actual military, you know, officer, like fought, like went to, you know, Middle East, like did military service. The guy's a very tough dude. He's obviously been in the news because of the Ian Machado drama with Ian accusing him of being some kind of a terrible parent or man. Yeah, it's a tough thing because he actually mentioned in some interviews this week that it affected his personal life. I'm talking about Neil Magny. He's a very nice guy. People know him as a very nice guy, good father, whatever, good parent, whatever the case may be. But that situation with him and Ian, you know, it kind of created a snowball. It's kind of the world of UFC. People make claims or accusations, and it kind of rolls out of control. But anyway, back to this fight here. Neil Magny, very long, no punching power at all. If I'm Mike Malott, I know I can, or Malott, I can walk him down, not worried about being punched at all, get his hips, double leg takedown, scrap him to the ground, get a submission. If Mike Malott doesn't win this fight, it's his fault. It's a gift for him. It almost feels like the UFC is giving him a layup to get a submission here in his home court. So give me Malott by round 2 submission, but man, that price tag of minus 355 on the money line is risque, and I would be very cautious about parlaying Malott on the money line. So, but give me Malott by a round 2 submission.
Yeah, man, I'm going that same way. Shout out to Neil Magny. Thank you for your service, man. I love watching this dude fight. You know, he's been around for forever. Yeah, man. I was gonna go with Mike Malott. I think he's gonna kind of implement the same game plan that Gilbert Burns did, RDA-esque. You know, go in there, just like be really aggressive with the takedown out, maybe like out in the first round, maybe the second after adjusting in the first, trying to like get used in that long body of Neil Magny and go out there and just get that submission, man, get that takedown and just choke him out. How you feeling, Nikki?
I'm all on Bird. I got Mike Malott winning by decision. Just to add on to what Manny said about the Neil Magny Ian Gary situation, like this isn't a podcast, obviously, where we're talking about like father. That none
oh
of that
no,
really,
please, please.
No, but I'm just gonna bring up the point that like a lot of these UFC fighters and a lot of people just they don't when they get these platforms they don't realize how much it could affect. I mean, there's there's a difference of what he meant by discipline, right? Like as a father, you're discipline without like obviously putting your hands, but there's still discipline. There's always discipline that you need to get your kids to grow up the right way. And it's just like Ian Gary really dragged it. That's in my mind, he dragged it. He took it too far. Ian Gary's a great fighter, but his personality is kind of getting me a little annoyed, and especially with that, and you found out how much it affected Neil Magny. But to talk about that fight, Neil Magny got embarrassed in that fight, and that had nothing to do with the press conference. He was getting chopped up. I mean, he almost couldn't walk. That was a bad fight. And I mean, he's been around a while. He has a lot of experience. He has some good wins, but now he's on this just like win-loss. And yeah, like, they put Mike in Canada for a reason. As long as this fight stays on the feet, this is Mike's fight to win. The worst thing that could happen to him when he goes for a knockout is he gets slapped in the face. Like, that's what Neil does. He slaps you. He barely punches you,
Yes.
He doesn't attack the body. Not going to see a lot of kicks or nothing. It's just, this is Mike's fight to win by decision, though. I don't see him knocking out. If Ian Gary could have knocked out Neil Magny, I don't see Mike Malott knocking him out. I think this will be his first decision win, because it is a test for him at the end of the day. He doesn't have the experience. Like, just because he has all his wins by finishes, I don't think this one continues that. I think this is a big step up for him at the end of the day.
Really, I feel that. Yeah, man. And even before we move on, like I said, man, shout out to Neil Magny, man. Like, that's really unfortunate that that's a situation he's going through, especially with the spouse, that had a separation, and therefore, they're going through a custody battle, and that sucks, man. Especially that Ian stuff really had a part to play. Like, that's crazy, man. Like, that's really unfortunate.
They take their platform and they mess up other people's life with it. And you can't take back what you said. You could apologize, but you can't take back that whole moment, that whole weekend, that happened. So.
Right. Yeah, man.
Well, karma's a motherfucker.
Oh, yeah. He got this whole situation exposed,
He got himself so exposed that he caught pneumonia.
Yeah, the stress, right?
Yeah,
man. Was from the stress. It had to be, man.
Yeah, that was crazy, man. But yeah, like I said, shout out to Neil Magny. And last reason I'm saying that is why I don't really know where he's gonna go after this fight. He's the ranked opponent. He's number 14, I believe, as a recording this fighting unranked guy. Mike Malott is 32 years old. He's in his prime right now, 2 months into being 32. So I definitely think they're gonna try to push him. He'll go from 14 to being 14 to finally number 8. To being number 8, finally just try to get him up there. I really think they're gonna try to do that. And yeah, I think he could fight like the loser of Gilbert Burns versus Jack Della Maddalena or something like that. Mike Malott could maybe, And I really think they're gonna try to push him up there. You feel me? But yeah, man. We'll see where Neil goes. If he decides to keep fighting there. Call it. Shout out to Neil Magny. And yeah, man. I'll take this one first. Yeah, I mean, of course, Chris Curtis versus Marc-Andre Barriault. I mean, it's a close fight. Of course, Chris Curtis, coming off that, that controversial, there was an unfortunate series of events for Chris Curtis in the Nasruddin fight. It was a headbutt, clash of heads. Unfortunate, He was telling the doctor that he wanted to keep going, but he wouldn't let him go. You feel me? And it sucked. You feel me? And the doctor still called it. And it's you know, it was ironic because it was right after the Kelvin Gastelum fight where he experienced a headbutt, and that fight too, he actually went on to lose that fight. Now, like, that was a close fight at the time. You know, I really think Chris Curtis could have taken it if, like, that headbutt didn't happen, like, optic wise, you know, because it made his face swell. You know, he swelled up really bad after that. When the headbutt happened, you know, and you know, like, yeah, before that, you know, he knocked out Joaquin Buckley, you know, lost to a veteran in Jack Hermanson, you know. The Rodolfo Vieira fight personally was my favorite performance of Chris Curtis. Just the way, like, I was kind of worried for him against like that jiu-jitsu ace like that, you know, and he just stuffed all those takedowns over and over. You're fine, bro. Go ahead. He stuffed those takedowns over and over and over and over and over to just win that fight, you know, and that just showed a lot of discipline and good game planning by Chris Curtis, you know, just being able to thwart off you know, that specialist and like his submission attempts. And yeah, I mean, the Brendan Allen win too. People got to talk about that, man. This Brendan Allen, he's in the main event right now, I believe. If you could click on his profile for me, Nikki, I believe he's in the main event right now, about to fight someone. You know, I forgot
Marvin
who.
Vettori.
Yeah, Marvin Vettori, right? You know,
Jersey. That's Atlantic City. Yep.
Mm-hmm. So I'm only seeing that in relation to Chris Curtis. That's a great win for Chris Curtis looking back on it. Brendan Allen, that's crazy. And like, they gave Chris Curtis this opportunity to try to get the upper echelon, you know, get to it. And it was the Jack Hermanson fight, and it didn't go his way, unfortunately. And you can see it there because, you know, it was on the win streak. And yeah, like, you know, that was unfortunate. But, you know, Chris Curtis' skill set, you know, good boxer, good takedown defense, like I said, really good boxer, to be quite honest with you. Like, really good technical combinations, really good defense himself. He has a really good Philly shell himself with the shoulder. It's pretty funny because, you know, him and Sean Strickland are teammates, obviously. They're really, really close friends, really, you know, best friends, do a podcast together. You know, shout out to those dudes, you know, try to have them on someday.
Get the 2-2 special, right?
Absolutely, most definitely.
We put them on ours, they'll put us on theirs. Let's see.
Theirs, absolutely, for sure. Marking that down. And yeah, man, Chris Curtis, he's good, man. The action, man. I think he's, you know, fairly meat and potatoes, not in a bad way. It's like he's a good striker, good takedown defense. He can grapple. Of course, he's a martial artist, professional martial artist. But I think in terms of what he does in the cage, he likes to stick to his boxing combinations and his takedown defense, you know. So yeah, man, going to Marc-Andre Barriault, his opponent in this fight. Of course, this is the dude with the home game. I met this dude out in Vegas. He's really nice. Shout out to Marc-Andre Barriault, super nice guy. I met him when I went to UFC 285. He's a super cool dude. Yeah, man. So Everett's coming out of TKO, where he was the double champ. He's faced a lot of adversity in the UFC. You know, we know he's 5-5. At one point, he was in a 3-fight losing streak. You know, and like, it was really unfortunate for Marc-Andre Barriault. That's why, you know, the UFC, you know, I always tell people, like, you know, like, I like to call it, hey, it's Manny's Cat. I like to call it the Ultimate Fighting Championship, you know, like the Ultimate Fighting Championship, because like that name really lets you know that like the kind of fighters you're going to face when you come here. And it's not just a false advertisement. You're really going to like face the best martial artists on planet Earth, you know, right when you step down. And like right when Marc-Andre Barriault came in, he faced adversity coming out of TKO. He was the double champion in TKO, you know, and you know, got some wins over Eric Anders, Julian Marquez, in his last 2 fights. You know, he lost to Anthony Hernandez. Fluffy's really good though, really good grappler, as you guys can see. You know, choked him out in the 3rd round. And he bounced back with 2 wins after that. You know, even before the Fluffy loss, he beat Jordan Wright. Of course, Jordan Wright isn't inside the UFC anymore, and he was getting finished himself. You know, the Beverly Hills Ninja, still a good striker. I did like Jordan Wright's fights; they were pretty entertaining. And like, yeah, the biggest loss for me, in my opinion, for Marc-Andre Barriault, of course, with the Chidi Njokuani loss, when he got knocked out in 16 seconds by Chidi. That was really unfortunate, man. Like, for Marc-Andre Barriault, you know, that's definitely not what he's accustomed to. But I thought that was telltale that, you know, he definitely might be getting to that point in his fight, you know, in his career where he's having a lot of wars, winning and losing wars, you know, and that can just be wear and tear on the body, whether you win or lose, you know. It doesn't matter. And like, but in terms of Marc-Andre Barriault's skill set, I do think he has decent striking, but I think he prefers to wrestle, get that top control, put guys up against the cage, clinch up, good, dirty boxing in the cage with the uppercuts, the clinch elbows, shoulder strikes. And yeah, man, I do think that Marc-Andre Barriault, he himself, is a fairly decent, well-rounded fighter. You see he's coming to the underdog in this fight, the power bar. And like I said, he's fighting at home. It's a close fight, in my opinion. But for me, man, I was leaning Chris Curtis in this fight. I was going to go with Chris Curtis. I think if he tries to take Chris Curtis down, he'll be able to stuff the takedowns. If he tries to engage with Chris Curtis on the feet, Chris Curtis is a very good boxer with a good boxing defense and a good chin and good power in his hands. The way he'll rip to the body. And he himself, I think Chris Curtis, if you're watching the embedded, it's like he really wants this win, man. He and Sean are both on the training camp together. They're in that championship training camp together. Iron sharpens iron, especially in a situation like this. And Chris Curtis is trying to get that victory, get back in the win column after the last 2 wonky fights that he had. And yeah, Marc-Andre, of course, Marc-Andre's a good fighter. He might be able to get Chris Curtis to the ground and get some control time. It made Chris Curtis have to scramble off his back and, get back to his feet. And, and while he's doing that, just siphon, some of that time away, just really get some of that control time and, make it look, good for the judges in his sake, his favor. But I do think that Chris Curtis still has really good takedown defense. I think everyone in that gym really has good takedown defense. Like I had mentioned, Sean Strickland himself has 84% takedown defense. And I just think that whole gym, they're really good at that. They're really good at just really being having their fighters prepared to be well-rounded in fights where these dudes are going to come in and really try to just be aggressive, with their wrestling and stuff like that. And just good game plans and stuff like that, especially with Eric Nixick and Chris Curtis's corner. And yeah, man, so I was going to go with Chris Curtis in this fight. How you feeling, Manny? Oh yeah. Also, I was gonna go with Chris Curtis by a third round TKO. I think it's gonna be a war for the first 2 rounds. I think he'll sprawl most of the takedowns. I think Chris Curtis is very confident on the feet, and I think that Chris Curtis is eventually gonna get the finish in the 3rd round after Marc-Andre Barriault is getting pieced up a little bit on the feet, and I'm not able to get the fight to the ground like he's accustomed to. And yeah, I was gonna go with Chris Curtis.
So the press conference just started, right? And Sean Strickland, by the way, he always wears a white T-shirt with this shaved head.
Yeah,
he looks so redneck. He always looks so redneck, just because of his or skinhead. I don't know. But yeah, the press conference just started, and they're all going back and forth. Yeah, my breakdown's pretty simple here. Marc-Andre Barriault can win the long game if he can frustrate Curtis, keep him at distance, sort of get him off balance, because Curtis seems to have a hard time changing things up. So if the first round doesn't go his way and second round doesn't go his way, he just sort of stands pat, doesn't actually change things up, can't cut off opponents who have, good cardio and good circle, which I'm not sure Marc-Andre Barriault has 15 minutes of a bicycle, running around and staying at distance, but it's a bigger cage and he'll be the home fighter. And, I don't have any faith in Chris Curtis right now. The Chris Curtis 2 years ago, yeah. Last few fights, some of it's not his fault, but just kind of I don't know, man. He's on social media arguing with teenagers. He's off the rails sometimes, and it just worries me that he's not focused, and ultimately that he could again fall into a rut. If it was just regular Chris Curtis, no issues, no BS, then yeah, round 1, round 2 knockout. He's the more powerful striker. He's a good athlete, defends takedowns at a very high level. I believe he's a better fighter than Marc-Andre Barriault, but the better fighter doesn't always win. And so, yeah, I'm super, super cautiously picking Curtis to win, but I have very little confidence. Round 2 knockout would be my exact prediction.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's do two. How you feeling, Nikki? Go ahead.
I'm on the same train with Chris Curtis. I just think he's the all around better fighter, and whatever they do, I think Chris Curtis is better. And he's a great counter striker. Like he's just gonna wait there, and you're gonna have to go to him. But he doesn't. He takes up a lot of space. That's a big dude. So you gotta find your way to break through to him. But the thing is, it's like he's one hook away from just putting you out. It's a strong dude. I mean that Buckley fight. I mean Buckley was just moving all fight, moving, boom, and he's done. You know, like that's what Chris Curtis could bring. Yeah, like with his record, it's not the best thing, but I do think like he is a pretty dangerous person to fight. I'm taking Chris Curtis. I don't really know when he's gonna win this fight. Like you said, he doesn't do much else than what he does. So it's like obviously the first round knockout, he's not gonna go at you. But on Tapology, I just put for my thing, I just put first round knockout for Chris. I don't really know when. It's hard, you know. Like he might come out there and he might catch you early, or it might take him all fight to catch you. But I think he catches him once. There's got to be at least one knockdown for Chris Curtis, in my opinion. If it's not a knockout, it's going to be at least a knockdown from a strike. I'm taking Chris Curtis. Just say first round knockout for me.
All right, bet. Yeah, guys. All right, bet. Moving on to the pay-per-view opener of UFC 297. These guys are going to open up the gates for us on Saturday night. Yeah, man. Really close fight, in my opinion. Man, you can give your prediction first, brother. Go ahead, man. Go ahead. Give us a little breakdown. And
press conference is off the chains right now. Holy
shit. What's happening? I can't hear. But.
Someone just ran up on the front of the stage.
Spoilers.
Wait, close your ears. I want to hear. Just take your earbuds out real quick. I want to hear.
I got
what happened, Amy?
I'm doing this show.
I'm rewinding it. Fan or somebody ran up on the stage to Sean Strickland.
No spoilers.
To like ask for an autograph or something like that, and then he got escorted so quickly. It was hilarious. They picked him up, and then Sean Strickland stood up and like was like white power. I don't even know. It's hilarious. Yo, okay. The press conference on UFC's, but what was the question? I lost my question.
Oh no, you're good, man. You're fine, yeah. You can give us a little breakdown, give us a pick.
This fight here, I'm on Arnold Allen. I think Mobsar, Evelev is very talented, 17-0, 7-0 in the UFC. All the numbers look good on paper. But if you watch the fight, he's been clipped. He's been dropped to a knee. I think last 7 fights have been all decision wins, or maybe even 8 fights. So not much punching power. If I'm Arnold Allen, who I believe is just good as a wrestler, probably the better striker, he could just walk this guy down with confidence. So, I have a lot of question marks about Evelev. I believe that Allen's the better fighter right now. Of course, coming off of a frustrating loss to Max Holloway, who's a very crafty veteran, that happens sometimes. But Arnold Allen, to me, he's the better overall fighter. I believe he puts the end to the win streak here for Mobsar. And so give me Allen to win the fight by decision. A prop bet I like a lot here is like the over 1.5, or a fight begins round number 3. This fight probably goes longer. But I can guarantee you this, Mobsar Evelev is not going to finish Arnold Allen. Not going to happen.
I feel you. You can go second, Nikki. Go ahead.
Yeah, I like Arnold Allen. He's like a really interesting fighter. He's a featherweight, but he's huge and he's strong. He has a lot of knockout power. And I was just looking, when you really like break down like who they fought, like 17-0, you can't take nothing away from them. He's the number 6th ranked featherweight. But like his last fight against Diego Lopez, Diego showed out. Then that's not a knock to Diego, but Diego's unranked. Like he's still on his come up. Dan Ige, Hakeem Dawodu, like those are his 3 most impressive wins, but that's not any upper echelon dudes in my opinion. I think Diego will be an upper echelon.
Can I ask one question, Nikki?
Yeah, of course.
Would you agree that Arnold Allen is probably the best fighter he's ever fought?
He's ever faced in his entire career. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, let's look like I'm taking Arnold Allen over Dan Ige. Diego Lopez in 3 years, I think he has the potential 2-3 years to be better than Arnold Allen, better than Dawodu, and then I don't got to say all these names, but I don't know any of that. But then and then just you go back and look at Arnold Allen, who he's beat. First of all, he went to a decision with Max Holloway.
Yes.
That's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of strikes you're taking in. He beat Calvin Kattar is a great striker. Yes. Dan Hooker, Dan Hooker, we know, he was fighting at featherweight. Why? Who knows? But he put it on Dan Hooker. He beat Sadiq Youssef is on the same level of all the dudes that Movsar beat. So that's where I'm not trying to take away his rank from him, but I don't think he probably is the 6th, but it's just like the context of it. And Arnold Allen, this dude was like a decision away from fighting for a title. Like,
he's plus money too. He's the dog.
Title.
You got to take Arnold Allen. I think I have him winning. Yeah, I put a question mark. I really don't know how he's going to win. I'm sorry, but I think just a little hook on him when he comes in for something, maybe a little counter or something. I would hope he could knock him out, but I think decision. I don't. I'm not trying to. I kind of feel like right now I'm hating on Movsar right now, and I know he's 17-0, and he's there for a reason. So I don't want to hate on him. So let's just say a decision win. I like that. I like that prop a lot. How you feeling, Antoine?
I'm gonna say, as we're recording, January 18th, 2024. I don't think this is gonna be the last time these dudes are gonna fight. I think they're gonna fight again later down the road. I think they're gonna have a really, really, really competitive fight here. I love fights like this. If you scroll down to the tape, Nikki, the people can see that these guys are actually the same age. You feel me? You're fine. They're both 29 years old. Literally 29. Arnold's it's age by 3 weeks. You feel me? So literally, that's crazy. So both these guys are the same age. They're two very, 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 very high level fighters. In my opinion, I am going with Arnold Allen in this fight. I think he has better footwork in this fight. I think Movsar's taking down a lot of dudes with stationary footwork, stationary fighting styles. And he's doing a good job at cutting off the cage and really just getting those dudes down. And Arnold, if you check his social media, he was training. He's training at TriStar. He's back at TriStar right now. We all know that TriStar is the legendary gym of George St. Pierre. With the head coach Faraz Zahabi. Just being in that gym with those minds you can learn from, they're going to give him a great game plan for a great fighter he's going to go up against like this. And I really think that Arnold Allen is a great fighter himself. He's the special fighter that Movsar's about to face. He's that dude that it's like how I interjected earlier. I agree with Manny. I think this is the best fighter that Movsar's faced. Honestly, in his entire career, you could honestly say that. And that's the number 4 ranked featherweight in the world. That lets you know the power of the UFC. And I really do think that Arnold Allen is a great fighter. Phenomenal fighter, really cerebral in his approach. He has great boxing technique, good power in both hands. His dad is a strong man, so that's definitely gonna pay dividends in the weight room. How he'll his wrestling strength, his sprawl, how he can control these dudes. I don't think he'll be manhandled. Not a dude as strong as that. I know it's gonna come down to technique and even listing it off, Movsar is a master of sport and Greco-Roman, but still, Greco-Roman is the wrestling that has the upper body of the opponent and they can maneuver their opponent and stuff like that. But I think that Arnold Allen's really gonna come in and just really have better footwork, be able to step the takedowns, be better on the feet. Be somewhat faster. I think we'll even be somewhat faster in this fight, and I think this is going to be a great fight to start the night off with. And honestly, it's going to be the fight I'm looking forward to the most. Just to see how it plays out. I love how fights like this could be a main event on an Apex card, and it's just on a pay-per-view, on a 3-rounder. And I do think we'll see it again in a 5-rounder. A little down the line. I don't think these guys are going anywhere. Both these dudes beat the majority of the division. So I think these guys are going to be around for a while. And Yeah, man, I look forward to this fight, but I'm gonna go with Arnold Allen. You feel me? By their decision. I don't know if he'll finish. I'm sorry, well, it could happen. Diego Lopez was hurting him. Hakeem Dawodu showed some flashes during that fight at one point.
He's strikeable, and Arnold's not someone you want to take a punch from. Nothing. Not a jab, not a hook, nothing.
Very, very powerful boxer, and he has good, but he actually has hands. Some of these dudes don't really like. They'll try to Muay Thai strike with a wrestler, and like this dude, that like for me, it's like he hasn't fought a wrestler in a really long time. He got that choke over Matt Burnell after struggling with the grappling in that fight, but that was years ago. I don't want people to really try to like call to fights that were years ago. It's like obviously he's a grown man now. He was like 23, 24 back then. He's a grown man, like, way more filled out body, way better skill set. But yeah, 29's a grown man. And yeah, man. And I really think that like, he's going to come out and just, have a good performance. It's a close fight though. And y'all, that's the pay-per-view segment of this card. Thank y'all so much for joining us, man. I can't wait to watch this press conference when this is over. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, we can go ahead and move on to the prelim portion of this card. Thank y'all so much for joining us. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We're gonna go ahead and run through these prelims for y'all. These are fairly decent prelims, so gonna go ahead and say who we're all picking. Yeah, y'all, I was gonna go with Brad Katona in this fight, man. I think Brad Katona is, I think, him fighting at home in Canada is gonna, do some good for him. I believe he lost in Vancouver, when he fought in Canada previously, but he's a good fighter though. Still, we saw him on the Ultimate Fighter, how he fought himself through that gauntlet, beat all that competition. And yeah, I mean, got the win over Bryce Mitchell. You feel me? And yeah, like, he's a good fighter still to this day. We saw that, we saw the fight of the year contender with Cody Gibson. He really weathered that storm. He saw some good shit, man. Really showed it in that fight. Really weathered through the adversity, and he won that fight by unanimous decision at that. So for a fight of the year candidate, like, that really showed that he still had somewhat of a dominant performance in the judges' eyes, and yeah, I mean, going to Garrett Armfield, Garrett Armfield, is a good fighter himself. Yeah, so he has the reach advantage in this matchup for those that are picking Garrett Armfield. So you definitely got that. He's 27 years old. He has a 6-inch reach advantage over Brad Katona. And yeah, man, he's a good fighter himself, I believe, in my opinion. He has TKOs and submissions on his record, so he's a fairly well-rounded fighter. Always good to see martial artists training all facets of the game. He's still trying to catch momentum inside the UFC. He got choked out by David Onama. And he knocked out Kazama. Now, Kazama doesn't really have like best chin, in my opinion, but of course, it's still a win at the UFC level. And he most definitely got the knockout there. And yeah, man, he's just trying to, get some momentum in his career. On the regional scene, he looked good. Finishing most of his opponents. If he was losing, it was a decision, or, he was getting submitted. So, and he has amateur career as well. So it's always good to see that a fighter has more experience than you think they actually have. And yeah, man, in my opinion, in this fight, I was going to go with Brad Katona to get that win at home. I think he's still a smart fighter, very determined fighter. He showed his heart through all those fights on the Ultimate Fighter. Those weren't easy wins to get. I thought the Tamir Valiev fight could have even went the other way. That's how close that fight was with Tamir Valiev. And I think Brad Katona is going to, use that Canadian roar from that crowd, that energy, summon it like Goku with the spirit bomb and just, get the victory, get that victory, How you feeling, Manny? Go ahead.
I went back and forth here because, Katona, I'm always underestimating this guy, and I'm not going to do it this time. I believe he'll employ enough ugly fighting, wrestling. He'll win the key moments in these rounds. I think Garrett Armfield's probably the more exciting fighter and also has higher upside, but Katona has a way of making things ugly and winning fights, and it's just his style. People make fun of him for a lot of things, and he's easy to make fun of at times because of just his quirky ways. But he's still, he's a guy who's got some experience and multiple time Ultimate Fighter winner. Who could say that? And Yeah, I'm gonna go with Katona by decision, and I think Armfield just may find himself getting beat by a guy who just has a little more experience. And for Armfield, not the end of the road by any means. He'll be
Mm-mm.
fine. He'll grow from this, and he'll get better. But Katona, who's like the fake Canadian, fake Irish guy, whatever, weird accent situation. I don't know, but yeah, I'm gonna pick him to win.
Yeah, I think they're really similar fighters. In their whole style. Brad Katona definitely has like the dog in him, right? That's what he has going for him. But I'm gonna go against the grain. I'm taking Garrett Armfield. I'm gonna have him win by
Armfield, wow,
decision.
okay.
My thought process was like everyone's gonna pick Brad Katona with their heart, but the brain pick I feel for me was the Garrett Armfield. That's just what I came to. That's my pick. I got to win by decision.
No, I get it. Yeah, man, it's gonna be a good fight. Both guys are, good fighters. Brad Katona has the reach disadvantage in most of the fights that he's in. So I feel like, he can definitely, work his way around that, like how he has in the past. And Garrett Armfield, he's a good up and coming prospect. He's coming off that knockout win, like I said. So he's definitely coming into this fight with momentum. So we'll see how it goes, man. It's a good fight. Moving on. This prelim.
Here we go.
Man.
This like my main event right here.
Yeah, man, this prelim was taking me a little bit. When I was going back and forth, you can go ahead and give your pick first, Manny. I went first last time, bro. You can go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, pretty short and sweet. Sean Woodson doesn't have any punching power that's significant at this level. He just does a lot of tapping, and he's very long. He'll have a foot of reach advantage, almost a foot. He'll be taller as well. But, Jourdain is more exciting, does flashier things, and, used to do a lot of spinning kicks. Might do a spinning kick here. I don't know. The crowd go wild. And he'll just make it more exciting. He'll interact with the crowd at some point, and probably what becomes a 3-round fight that he wins by decision. And yeah, so it's going to look pretty good when it's all said and done for him. He wins by decision. The numbers for striking will be similar, but again, my issue with Sean Woodson is he's a smart fighter. He just doesn't land with any power. And that's ultimately what we're looking for is here. Significant strikes, damage. Did you wobble the guy? He doesn't win that way. He wins by peppering opponents. Maybe on the ground against a terrible wrestler, could find a submission. But I think actually here that Air Jourdain is actually the better grappler. So if it goes to the ground, he's the fighter I'd like in that area too. So either way, give me Jourdain. I like him as a really safe pick to bet straight up on the money line or even possibly parlay him.
Gotcha. You can go ahead, Nikki.
Yeah, Jourdain is a really cool fighter. I really like that Kron Gracie fight when he just stopped that stupid guard pull that we saw the whole fight. Everyone didn't like it, and he still put on a show. He still found a way to make that fight entertaining. With Sean Woodson, what's really interesting is he has a boxing background. Just like great striker. Sure, he doesn't have knockout power, but he could put together 3 punches, 2 body punches in a second, and that's 5 punches landed on you when you were just trying to block. And it's right. Impressive. And he has good wrestling. He's proved that he has good wrestling. Jourdain might be able to put together a submission or 2, but like Sean's not an easy feat on the ground either. And then it's just the height and the reach. He's a way bigger fighter. When this fight's standing up, like Sean Woodson might not be knocking him out. He might barely be hurting him in those feathers, but he's going to put together a lot of firepower on him, I think. And by firepower doesn't have to mean strength. Firepower could just mean output, I got Sean Woodson winning this one by decision.
Yeah, man. I was going back and forth on this fight for a long time, man. And even hearing the live breakdowns and stuff like that, it's just man, as I'm looking at the fight, as I'm thinking about it, I know Charles Jourdain's going to want to strike with Sean Woodson. Charles Jourdain can come in with a really good game plan, with the leg kick, try to chop the base of Sean Woodson to get him on the inside. He's fairly durable as well. If Charles Jourdain is losing, it's really by submission. I do think he has a really good chin, in my opinion, Charles Jourdain. Yeah, he's never been knocked out, never lost or knockout. 5 losses by decision. He has been submitted though, but I don't think this fight's gonna really play out on the ground like that. It could, but I don't think it will like that. And man, dude.
Lay it on us. What'd you go? Just tell us right now the heart pick. Don't think
no, no. Of
right
course. Oh, no, for sure. I mean,
I don't want you second guessing yourself last minute. What'd you write down? Tell us. Don't
like actually, no, you can look. Like I didn't have I didn't have a check mark. No, like there's Woodson right there. There's no check mark. There's Jourdain. I didn't have a check mark. You feel me? So like,
what does the brain tell you, not the heart?
I'm gonna go with Sean Woodson, bro. I think he's gonna be able to like, if any takedowns come out, I think he's gonna be able to sprawl. And like he's really good with the jab, man. Like he's been boxing since the age of 8, and he's a really cerebral boxer with the combinations. And like I think he'll know how to use that reach advantage, man. With Charles Jourdain, and Charles Jourdain has never fought against a fighter that has the reach advantage on him like this. So he's gonna have to work and try to get it on the inside for the first time in his career. We're going to see how that plays out for him. Again, he could come in with the leg kick, start to chop the base and slow Woodson down. I think, Sean could also game plan for that and, know that that's Charles' main route to victory and you're ready to chop. Check the leg kicks and just jab away, rip into the body. They're really fast with the combinations. This is a close fight, bro. This is a really close fight, man. I'm not going to lie, bro. The fact that so many picks are varying, shows you how close these fights are on this card. But yeah, man, I was gonna go with Sean Woodson, man. I'll go with Sean Woodson, bro. I'll go with Sean Woodson, man. And yeah, man, moving on down the card, running through these prelims, y'all. Got about 4 or 5 left. Yeah, all right, bet. So going with Siri Seedy versus Ramon Tavares. You can break down this one, Manny. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, these guys fought on Contender Series this past season, so like late summer, early fall, and it was one of the more controversial endings of the season because Tavares did get knocked down by Sadi, got a few strikes landed on the ground, but the referee came in, but everyone seemed to be thinking that was premature. So Dana stood up. He was kind of give a face, like, what was that about? They invited Ramon Tavares to come back to fight later on in the season, and he won his fight by like a round 1 knockout. Early knockout, so he got his way into the UFC that way. But again, back to their first fight, Sadi clips him. No question about that. Definitely clips Ramon Tavares. Tavares goes down, and then from there, again, early stoppage. Before the clipping of Tavares does land a few hard shots on Sadi, who took the shots very well. I thought the Sadi actually showed he's got a decent chin. But these guys are both unproven. 10-1 for Sadi, 9-2 for Tavares. A lot of variance here should be expected. With Tavares, I think I have a better read on him in terms of what he is or who he will become. He's the kind of guy, like, he reminds me of that guy, Fialho, who was hot for a quick minute. Fialho was like knocking people out.
Andre Fialho, yeah.
Yes, Andre Fialho, like 10 days notice. Sign me up, coach. But he's either bang or bust. And I believe that's what Tavares is like. He's a baby version of Fialho, where he'll come out there and go swinging. He's going to knock a few people out in the process. He also might get knocked out too. And so I think the guy who knocked him down, at least before, within the last 6 months or so, the Sadi guy, who is actually of Canadian descent, hometown fighter, I like Sadi to win the fight by a round 2 knockout. I think Tavares gets very sloppy when he fatigues. If we get to round 2, he'll be wide open for counters. Give me Sadi by knockout, round number 2.
But you can go ahead, Nikki. Go ahead.
Yeah, sir. He's on a 3-fight knockout streak, and he's on a 6-fight win streak. He has all finishes in those except for 1. Obviously, he got the knockout win in the last fight on the record. And now he's fighting at home, so now he definitely has a little extra chip on his shoulder, right? He's at home. He has everyone rooting for him. That means something, right? And then Ramon, he's on a similar streak. He just had a loss to Sadi, but same thing. The 5-6 wins in a row, all but 1 finish. They fought once. This is a controversial stoppage. I'm gonna go Sergey with the knockout again. Round 2 sounds good. I don't know. It's hard, they fought already, and it was like it was what it was, So I'm going with Sergey in this fight.
Yeah.
How you feeling, Antoine?
Yeah, man, it's gonna be a clean sweep on this one. He got 3-3. I was gonna go with Series City to get that win. At home, man, in Canada, it's gonna be cool, man. I believe this is official debut. So CD, according to Topology, he's the #1 bantamweight hailing from the nation of Canada. So that's really cool, man. We're gonna see how he does. He's probably get a big pop from the crowd. Then probably a lot of people are probably gonna know who he is. I imagine people that go to regional MMA shows that are gonna attend the UFC when they come to town. That's the biggest promotion on earth. So why wouldn't you? It's gonna be cool, man. It's rare you see a Contender Series rematch this fresh after these guys come off Contender Series, but obviously there was some controversy that needs to be settled. So we're gonna see how it goes. But I'm gonna go with Series City by second round knockout, not TKO, knockout. I think it's gonna be a highlight roll knockout at home,
sweet.
Like a flush, straight right. Uppercut, something like that. Yeah, man, we could go ahead and do this. Well, man, he got to tend to the doggos. Gotta love those doggos. Yeah, man. So Jillian Robertson versus Polyana Viana, man. We got the Savage coming out. She's at home. She's a moderate favorite in this one. If you can scroll down a little bit for me, as people can see, she's a -200 favorite. She's she's still young, man. She's 28. You feel me? She's like always, she's at a reach disadvantage going into this fight. Always makes weight at strawweight and never really has any problems. And I mean, she has a lot of experience, man. We saw her come out of tough. And she's 12-8, man. And the people that's not a regular 12-8 record. She's 9-6 inside the UFC, and she's just been here for so long. We saw her submit Pieta Rodriguez. Of course, Pieta Rodriguez was definitely contesting that submission, but I think it was like a vocal tap or something like that made the ref stop it, and that's how Jillian got the victory. Submitted Maria Agapola. That's back when Maria Agapola had a lot of hype, and she finished her in the second round. Of course, I do want to mention the grappling bout that she had with the former UFC strawweight champion, 2-time strawweight champion, Rose Namajunas. Yeah, that was crazy, man. When she submitted Rose like that, man. We know that Jillian is, a jiu-jitsu fighter, so I do want to mention her grappling bout. She went out there and submitted her in a minute and 5. That was pretty crazy. I'm not gonna lie, man. Grappling bout or not, that was pretty crazy. And yeah, man, she lost to JJ Aldridge. JJ's a good, good fighter. I think that that was about 2 years ago now. Of course, she just hit 2024, but I really think that Jillian is doing her best to improve her striking. Everyone knows that's always been the biggest hole in her game. In terms of the submission, she always has it on lock. Submitted Priscilla Cadasueda, and you see the other submissions that I just did, and yeah, man, she's always doing grappling bouts, win or lose, just to focus on her craft and always just make sure she's keeping her skills sharp. We saw her lose to Miranda Maverick, but of course that was 3 years ago, and I definitely think she's gotten better since then. And also that was in the Apex, like a UFC 260, and this will be in the big cage in a big arena with her family and friends all in the crowd, cheering for her as she walks out to PMIP. Pimp by 50 Cent, so I love it when she walks out. I love it so much. And yeah, man, she's a good fighter, man. I love watching the Savage fight. Like I said, in terms of the striking, she's trying to get better at it. She's really trying to improve her hands, but the jiu-jitsu, there's really not much you can really tune up there. She's a great jiu-jitsu ace, some submissions against the cage, off her back, especially on top. Doesn't have the craziest wrestling to get it to the ground, but she will shoot, and she has a lot of heart, so she will shoot over and over to try and get the fight to the ground. And yeah, man, I really like Jillian Robertson, you feel me? And going into, Polyana Viana, this girl has a pain tattoo for all you that like anime, the pain from Naruto, got it tatted on her chest. Yeah, man, this girl's a really cool girl, man, cool fighter. Coming out of Shooto Box, the Diego Lima camp, of course, we know that's where the former lightweight champion Charles Oliveira trains. So that lets you know the kind of camp she's coming from. She's 4-5 inside the UFC. She lost her last fight via submission by Yasmin Lucindo. Of course, we know how good of a young prospect Yasmin is. Before that, she knocked out Jinyu Frey, but Jinyu Frey, of course, getting up there in age herself. Lost to Tabitha Ricci. That was, pretty fun fight to watch, And before that, she submitted Mallory Martin and Emily Whitmire. Now, of course, you really got to look at the competition when it comes to those victories. Wasn't really the best. And before that, she was on a 3-fight losing streak, after winning her UFC debut. But obviously, they see something in her, because they keep her around. And yeah, I mean, I still think she's just getting, trying her best to improve fight by fight. She's still young, and just trying to improve. This is really a fight of two young fighters that are really just trying to showcase their improvement that they've made. Now, both fighters have had up and down somewhat UFC careers. Even Jillian's 9-6 though, and I do think she does have a little bit more, like, she's faced better competition in my opinion. Jillian Robertson, and yeah, man, going to my pick in this fight. It's actually a pretty close fight after breaking it down, and I'm really thinking about it, really looking at it. But yeah, man, I was gonna go with Jillian Robertson in this fight, man. I was gonna go with Jilly by like a second round submission, man. I think she's really tough. She's hard to finish on the feet if Polyana tries to strike with her. I do think that Jillian's getting better with the striking herself, and I think she knows her game plan. She's gonna try to get it to the ground for the most part. And I think if it ends up on the ground, she will be able to get the submission. She's not gonna get. I don't think she's gonna fight backwards at home in Canada. She knows, she's like, man, I'm not even trying to make a whole spirituality thing about it. But I do think that will pay dividends in this fight. That's why they stack these Canadian cards with all Canadian fighters, because they want the crowd to be hyped the entire time. And everyone knows Jillian Robertson. They're gonna see she's all red from head to toe. And she's gonna go out there and try to get the victory, and I think she will. I think she'll get a second round submission after maybe like a competitive first round on the feet. She's gonna have to figure out the way to get there. But I think the moment she does get it to the ground, she could work out a submission as long as she has time left on the ground, about 2 minutes, stuff like that. And yeah, who you picking, Nikki?
I'm gonna be taking Polyana Viana. She has a nasty armbar. She has 9 submissions. Most of them come from an armbar. I like that. I think she could, because the females, they get so many armbars in WM.
Right.
So,
Armbars.
It's just common with them. They're really
Mm-hmm.
good at getting the arms. So I'm gonna take her, and I got her winning by armbar submission.
So the fight ends by submission is a good betting spot, right? I don't know the numbers on that, but I would agree with you, Nikki, that a submission is probably the way it ends. I'm just on the Robertson side of that happening, but either way, yeah, fight probably goes under. Just some numbers here. These two fighters in their last 12 combined fights, both of them, they went to decision 4 times. So most of the time, they're not going to decision. In the case of Viana, she's been to decision only 1 time in her last 6 fights. So for better or for worse, she tends to not go the full distance. And so, yeah, I'm on Jillian Robertson. She's at home, right, in Canada, but it's going to be close. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Oh my gosh. Excuse
Bless
me, guys.
you. You're fine.
Thank you. One more time.
There we go.
Okay. So, but if the fight is standing for long periods of time, I think Vienna's a much better striker. And I think it'd be wise for her to keep that fight at range, because on the feet, I think Jillian Robertson really struggles. In her last fight against Tabitha Ricci, that was the problem. Yeah, she just couldn't close distance, and Ricci's quick and moving. And I believe that Robertson was the bigger fighter in that fight, but it didn't matter because she could get her hands on her, couldn't take her down. And so, yeah, the script is out there for Viana. Just keep her at range, punch her up, stick and move. And Robertson, her only path to victory is by submission. At minus 290, big risk here betting that kind of money on Robertson, who only has 1 path to victory. Whereas Viana, I agree with Nikki. She could submit Robertson, who's been submitted before, or she could even stand it up and win by decision. So give me Robertson by submission, but yeah, I'm super worried here for her.
Side note about Tabitha Ricci, we used to support her here until she decided that she doesn't care about me anymore, and she cares about Alan Wall instead, a boxer. So there's that. We don't We don't do that over here. We were big supporters until that. So there's that, guys. Just so you know. Go spam Elle in her comments on Instagram when they're on the beach running down to the water together. Please spam L's and tag me. Thank you.
That's great.
Yeah, of course. Nah, we wish all the ladies well here at MMAHOLICS, and of course from MMA Fight Club as well. We love all the ladies in MMA. They go out here and put their lives on the line, their pretty faces on the line for our entertainment. And of course, we always will support WMMA over here. You feel me? And yeah, man. Moving on to Johan Lainez versus Sam Patterson. You can go first, Manny. Go ahead, bro.
You asked me a question?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. My bad.
Yeah, Manny.
What'd you say?
I'm
sorry,
buddy. No, you're fine, bro. Yeah, you can go first, Manny. Go ahead.
What'd you say? I'm sorry. Oh, this fight here? Okay.
It's first pick. That's fine. It's all good, bro.
My kids, their school is closed tomorrow. So
wow, weather.
Yeah, it's already it's only 6:00, so I just got the message right now. But all right, so yeah, East Coast expecting some winter weather tomorrow.
Some weather, yeah. So I'm saying, in Atlanta, it's 18 out here right now. So
no snow in Massachusetts. Thank God I don't got to move my car again. Let's go.
It's crazy, and I'm happy for you. No
here, I'll keep it pretty short and sweet. Patterson got mollywopped last fight. I was betting against him. It was the what's that guy's name? Israeli prospect Janal Ashmouz. Yes, it was this guy who ended up knocking my man Patterson out. Who Patterson, he's got some skills. He's very long, very tall for the division, but it's there's a lot of issues still there. He's far from being refined. And ultimately, here was a guy who came in there and just kind of wrecked him. And so I'm still I'm not sold on Patterson as being a legit UFC fighter who can hold his own type of thing. And so I'm already fading him before I even look at who he's fighting. In this case, though, he's fighting a guy in Johan Lainez who he also has some issues. Durability, cardio, not so sure there. Does swing hard as F, though. He goes for it. He swings hard as hell and either gets finished or finishes his opponent in the process. So this fight, to me, one safe bet here would be, again, the under 2.5 and or fight ends by knockout. Someone's probably getting knocked out. I think Lainez, however you pronounce that name, who's from Canada, has Canadian descent, he probably comes out on top. He's the -148 favorite, so barely a favorite, more like a pick'em price tag. But Sam Patterson, I just think he needs a little more time. He's the kind of guy where, forgive me for saying so, would have been better for him to stay in the regional scene a little bit longer than to be here now with the killers.
Yeah, man.
Lainez is a grown-ass man, and Sam Patterson's still kind of wet behind the ears. I fear Sam Patterson gets knocked out again and sort of sends his career into a spiral. So yeah, I don't know, man. Give me Lainez by knockout round 1, round 2. That's what I'm thinking.
Go ahead, Nikki. The floor is yours.
So I didn't really put a prediction for this one because this was the one I was telling you before I was FP with. But what I did take away from this is that Patterson is moving to welterweight in this fight. He has 2 losses to first round knockouts and 5 submissions with 3 guillotine chokes, which is cool. So he's a good submitter. But Johan, I noticed he has really great takedown defense. And just, to put on what Manny said, the age, the maturity, he's going to stop the takedowns and he's just going to fight away. He's going to throw them haymakers at you. And I'll agree. I'll go with Johan by knockout in this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. It's gonna be a clean sweep on this one too, man. I got Johan Lainez by I think it's gonna be a banger in the first round. It's gonna be a knockout. So I'm gonna go with a first round knockout for Johan Lainez. Yeah, man, it's unfortunate for Sam Patterson. I was scared for him after that last knockout. He was fighting the ref after and all that and stuff. And when you but when you see that, that's scary, man. When he was pulling his arms away and stuff, it's man, I really hope that, even if he loses this fight, he could still just, figure it out and maybe go back to the regional scene and come back. He's still young. I agree with what Manny said. I think he should have stayed on the regional scene sooner. It's never a rush to get to the UFC, as long as you make it here by like 30, something like that. Look at Mike Malott, he's in his prime right now at 32, and it's paying dividends. Or like, someone that just fought last weekend, Marcus McKee, he's 33. Mm-hmm. And like the heart of his prime, and like he came in at the right time, and he's killing dudes, obviously. You feel me? But yeah, y'all, moving on to the next fight. We've got the last two of the night. Well, the first two of the night, technically. Yeah, man, we got Jasmine Justification versus Priscilla Cachoeira. You can give your first your pick first, Nikki. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah. So with my breakdown of this, I noticed that Priscilla is the way better striker in this fight. And Jasmine is definitely a decision fighter. So she is slow-paced, slow fighter, good pace, actually, is how I should say it. And she has good takedowns, which will score her a lot of control time. I got her winning this one by decision. Her cardio is going to do her well in this fight. And it's simple as that for me. How you feel, Manny?
I mean, I agree with you. I do think that Jasmine Jasudavicius, aka JJ, I think that she's, underrated wrestler. Like, she out wrestled Miranda Maverick. She was a dog in that fight, but proved right there she can wrestle with the best of them. Not a great submission fighter. So, like, I wouldn't say her jiu-jitsu is amazing, but just the wrestling, staying on top and control time. And that's what Cachoeira is not good at. Like, that's where she has problems, because Cachoeira is a street fighter. She's a bar brawl type of chick. And if you play that game with her, she'll knock you out because she's got heavy hands and can take a punch. This probably ends up being a boring looking fight for most fans, but Canadians just want to see Jasmine win. So even if it's boring and she's on top, they won't boo.
They'll be cheering.
Yeah, they'll be like, hey!
Crazy.
She'll get an elbow in and they'll go crazy.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So I think Jasmine wins. She'll be the bigger overall fighter on game day. She has a bigger frame. But just some side note here. I've gone over Cachoeira's profile in the past. Like, she was legitimately living homeless in the streets and was a drug addict and had to have a family intervention. She's been through spousal abuse and domestic violence. And she's been through it all. So I don't love betting against a girl who's got that kind of pedigree. But yeah, it's Jasmine's fight. I think she should win. The line's been very much in her favor since it opened up a few weeks ago. She's now minus 380. That's probably too much, but I think she's
a little high. Yeah.
It is a little high, but she probably wins. And like Nikki said, the problem is at minus 380, you're winning by decision. It's like, is that minus 380 decision win? Like, it's sweaty. But I mean, imagine, would the judges take the fight from her in a decision over at Cachoeira? I mean, probably not. So yeah, give me Jasmine by decision.
Yeah, man, I'm on the Manny side of this one. I have Jasmine Jasudavicius as well. I do think she's a good technical boxer. I think that she has, she's always training her hands, and like she's at a good gym, the same gym as Mike Malott. They all train up there at Niagara Top Team, and even then Mike Malott will cross train over at American Top Team. Let's go down to Florida, Coconut Creek, and it'll go back up to Niagara, and just go back and forth. And that's a great training partner to have. And if you check the embedded, they're all in the midst of a really good training camp together. Because they're all fighting on the same card. And Jasmine, yeah, man, like, I think she has really good top control. She still has good clinch game. She's really physically strong. She's 34 right now. She's getting a little up there, but of course, Priscilla's 35, so both these girls are around the same age. And Jasmine got to the UFC a little later. Of course, Priscilla's been here for a little while now. And Jasmine Jasudavicius, again, she has good boxing technique. Like, she has good jab, a good 1-2. And she does have a chin, man. She has heart. We saw it in the Natalia Silva fight. How she was getting pieced up by Natalia Silva, and she kept coming forward, and she didn't give up. She never gave up, And I think she watched that film back, and she learned from it. And we saw how she looked against Miranda Maverick, who's a great striker. Miranda Maverick is, and she was boxing her up. I think she had even damaged her orbital in that fight at one point. So that really showed you she's getting better with the precision and the power. And things of that nature. So it was a good win for Jasmine Jastovicius, and I think that even coming off the last fight, but she lost to Tracy Cortez in Noche UFC. I think it was just going to be hard to beat any of the Mexicans that night in Noche UFC. And that was a close fight. She was coming on in that third round and looking really good. Honestly, it was a really, really close fight at the end of the fight, when the judges read the scorecard out. And yeah, man, I was going to go with Jasmine. I'm going to go with Jasmine probably like, I don't want to say decision, man. I think it might be though, man. I think she's gonna come out there. If they break apart, come forward. Kickbox, clinch. Get her on the cage, clinch Priscilla. Get control time. 1 minute, minute 30. Break apart because Priscilla's gonna break away, box, and just the same thing. Rinse and repeat. Get that control time, and just same old. You feel me? And with that, y'all, we move on to the very first fight of the evening. Shout out to these two guys, man. Shout out to Malcolm Gordon and Jimmy Flick. You feel me? Both these guys have been through their fair amount of adversity inside the UFC. I do want to take a minute out to say what's up to Jimmy Flick. When he retired, a couple years ago, that was really sad. The stuff he was going through with his father and all that. And yeah, man, he decided to come back and fight for his dream, and like it's cool to see that he fought for his own approval and not his father's approval, So shout out to Jimmy Flick for persevering through that tough time, and yeah, Malcolm Gordon, of course, this guy's a decent fighter. And also, shout out to the dudes in the chat. Sorry we haven't been able to get to y'all's questions. Shout out to y'all, JC been cooling, and Z1 low F. Shout out to you boys. We were just trying to get through the card and stuff before we say what's up to the chat. And yeah, thank y'all so much for joining us, man. But to continue on with the breakdown. Yeah, man, like it's kind of like how JC said, man, that flying triangle was pretty crazy by Jimmy Flick, But going into the fight, man, like we know what's been going on lately. Jimmy Flick, I believe 5 of his 6 losses are by way of knockout, I believe. So it's really unfortunate. Actually, not 6 out of his 7 losses. Yeah. Mm-hmm. 6 out of his 7 losses are by way of knockout. So that really showed you that, man, like I really think that Jimmy, like it's a part of his body. His body's failing him at this moment in his career, man. And I really think it's really like once your body starts dropping at these lower weight classes where it requires a lot of durability and speed, and strength in the flyweight division to really get an advantage over the upper echelon. You can struggle. And of course, just fighting Malcolm Gordon. But even on the Malcolm Gordon side, I think Malcolm Gordon, is a decent fighter himself. He's a decent boxer, decent stand up. You feel me? He hasn't had the best luck inside the UFC. Some of it's really been like, fight IQ issues some of the time. Like when he was fighting Muhammad Mokaev, like he really wasn't having that bad of performance in that fight. But there was at one point in time where he let Mokaev up for some reason when he could have got the top control and stuff like that. And like, it just really sucked. He's 2-4 currently inside the UFC. 5 wins are by KO, but he's been finished 5 times via knockout. He's been submitted twice, never lost via decision. So if he's getting finished, if he's losing, he's getting finished. And man, dude, like, hey, man, this fight, I'm telling you, it's a close fight, man. I mean, obviously, it's one of the closest fights on the card. Seriously. And like, yeah, that's another thing, like how JC said, Malcolm Gordon did suplex Muhammad Mokaev. So that definitely shows his grappling ability and the intangibles that he does possess and able to get high level fighters like that to the ground, especially a high level fighter like Muhammad Mokaev, who's been grappling his whole life, almost. And yeah, man, even on the Jimmy Flick side, he's a great grappler, phenomenal grappler. That submission on Cody Durden, looking back on it, is a phenomenal win, especially in the fashion that he did it over Cody Durden. And yeah, man, I wanted to break the fight down, but you can get the first pick, man. You go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
So, yeah, I mean, Jimmy Flick hasn't won a fight since 2020. It's been like 4 years. Now, he retired in 2022. So, in his defense, there was a full year there where he didn't fight. But whether it's the outside the octagon stuff with his father, who he did bring back, his dad was in the corner for him in his first fight back after retirement. So, like, they've sort of, worked things out, which is all good, but man, the guy can't win a fight, and it becomes like habitual, like it's habit forming. If you can't get your hand raised in 4 years, and it's just like at some point the writing's on the wall. He's submission or bust, just like Bueno Silva. It's submission or bust with him. He does have some submission skills. He would definitely submit me in a street fight, and you and Nikki, all of us. If we were 3-on-1, he'd submit all of us somehow. So, like, yeah, I mean, the guy's nasty, but it's just like there's no chin. And when you have no chin, you haven't had your hand raised in years, how can I actually pick you? So it's all those defaults is why I'm going with Malcolm. Malcolm is kind of has a chance or has the propensity to also drop the baton. So I wouldn't feel great about betting on him if you're betting on the fight. Yeah, exactly. So I'm going with Malcolm Gordon to win. I've got him to win by decision. And yeah, if Jimmy Flick loses this fight, if I was him, I would retire from fighting and pursue some other things. Because at this point, this is definitely the end of the road. It's it. And if he gets finished, actually, oh my God, retire on the spot, dude. Put the gloves down, whatever. For Gordon, he's not a gatekeeper. He's like a prelim gatekeeper. It's like a unique role that he has. So he's safe.
This is a prelim. Yeah. Continue. I'm sorry about that.
But that's it. That's my breakdown. There you go.
No, I get it, man. Yeah, Nick, you can go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
I mean, Jimmy Flick, he loves his arm triangle chokes. He loves them. He goes to them a lot. You can see on his resume. For Malcolm Gordon, he throws a lot of punches a lot of power into all his punches. And regularly he'll look to clinch and take down a lot, but I don't see him wanting to do that. I think he'll try and keep this one standing as much to keep himself safe in this fight. It should be an easier win for him just because how good his striking is. He gets like low and he gets in there and he throws it like an overhook or something. He throws really strong, and I think I got him by winning by knockout. I know you guys didn't want to hear that based on your things, but I got him winning by knockout.
Yeah, it's okay.
No, it's all good, man. Yeah, man. I had Malcolm Gordon as well. I thought that was pretty indicative, even with the breakdown I gave at the top of the fight. It's just Jimmy Flick's body. I think his body's starting to fail him at this moment in his career, man. And like it's unfortunate, man. I really don't know what happened when he took those years off and he came back, but MMA, the evolution of this game is very fast, and everyone's getting better all the time. There's definitely a point in time where he was just sitting on the couch, just relaxing, or just working a regular job every day, which there's nothing wrong with that at all. It's just with MMA, if you're going to do MMA, you got to be in it all the time, fully dedicated, fully immersed. And yeah, man, to be a killer, to fight these killers, And yeah, man, that was the first / last fight of the evening. Yeah, y'all, that was the UFC 297 breakdown. It's a good card. After finishing it on paper, of course, we gotta wait for Saturday night to really see how the fights are gonna play out. On paper, I give the card for a pay-per-view. I give it like a 7 out of 10. I give it like a 7 out of 10, like 7.5 to an 8, something like that. But I'll comfortably say like a 7. It could get stretched to a 9 for, with like the crowd energy and the finishes, and like the title fights are both really good. And like, the whole pay-per-view, in my opinion, is really good. Like how I said, I want to see Allen versus Evil Webb, a lot,
Yes.
So, yeah, man. How do y'all feel about it? You can go first, Nikki.
It's a cool card. Start the year. Got some good names on it. Strickland really made a name for himself, so that really put it there. And don't forget, it is 2 title fights. Depending on how you look at it or not, it's 2 title fights. So 4 great fighters. I really wish Arnold Allen and Movsar were the featured bout of the night, third fight.
rounds, bro.
third to last, but we don't make it, But I definitely think it's the third greatest fight on the card. But it is what it is. We're still getting the fight. Can't complain. Get it a little earlier. On to you, Manny.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's mixed martial arts. It's on a weekend. It's Saturday. It's UFC. I'm not the kind of person who will complain. So I'm just happy with getting whatever we can get. Is it a stacked card in terms of like drama and like name appeal? Maybe not, but these ones can be sneaky good, So you want to tune in either way, whether you're going to be, getting it via illegal streaming or paying for it, whatever the case may be. You're going to have your eyes tuned in on Saturday night or Saturday afternoon if you are like, do what you got to do, but I'll be watching and I'm excited to watch these fights. And I mean, the middleweight division with Strickland on top right now, it's going to change drastically. If he were to win and defend the title, we get more Strickland. Like, it's Strickland times 3. But if he were to lose and Dricus du Plessis gets the crown, big shift there. Huge shift in like brand, name value. I mean, just, is there a rematch? South African. He said he would be the first ever African with a title who's actually in Africa, living there.
From Africa.
Yeah, that whole conversation, trust me, he's dying to drop that on everyone if he were to win. So it's good. Hey, listen, man, it's going to be great. I'll be watching. I'm off from any labor activities on Saturday night. I'll be watching the entire fight card. I suggest you guys all watch it too. It's going to be great.
Yeah, man, I think it's gonna be a good card, man. I think so too, bro. It's a lot of good electric matchups on it. I want to see Allen versus Evil Webb, man. And like, that's honestly the fight I'm looking forward to the most. Not to like discredit all the other fights, just I think that fight is so high level. And I love like the lower weight class, especially like the featherweight division, because that's the sweet spot where they have the most power, technique, and the most speed. I really love that, And yeah, man, Chris Curtis versus Marc-Andre Barriol, Charles Jourdain versus Sean Woodson. It's a lot of good matchups on this card. I look forward to it, man. I think it honestly will deliver. It's going to be better than people think it's going to be. Of course, this is the first chapter in the closing of the 200s. This is 297 as we go from 298 to 299. We're ready to see what they got for us, man. They're announcing fights at UFC 300 now. We got Max Holloway versus Justin Gaethje for the BMF title at UFC 300. That makes that card even crazier. If you actually look at it on Typology, like, in your own private time, that card really is shaping up to be pretty ridiculous. Like, every fight has a name-worthy individual in it, and it's pretty insane. 299 is crazy in Miami. And I was thinking like they only start at 299, man, because like they want to really like have all eyes on 299 and everyone in their living room that night be like, man, 300 is really the next event, bro, and stuff like that. And then they're gonna show the preview like all night for the card. But yeah, thank y'all so much for joining us. Thank you to Manny from MMA Fight Club for joining us. You're a great man. Like always, we love having you. Go ahead and tell the people about all your shows and where they can find your work, man. Please do.
I mean, look us up on Twitter /X, whatever, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, MMA Fight Club. We have a black and a yellow logo. I'll be live at some point this evening going over the entire fight card, taking my time, one fight at a time. And tomorrow I'll be also live with Monique for MMA Happy Hour. So we got a few things going on over here, kind of similar to what these guys are doing over here at MMAHOLICS. And so same type of vibe. Everyone's chill. Everybody love everybody type of vibes. No hate, no slander. Just love us some mixed martial arts. So yeah, look us up, MMA Fight Club, wherever you get your socials or your streams or whatever. So,
of course, you got any closing remarks, Nikki? You good, bro?
That's it, man. Appreciate everyone for coming out. Saw some comments, had some viewers in here. Start them parlays up and follow us. I know we disagreed on a few, but y'all can make your own judgment. I'll see you guys Saturday.
All right, boys.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much, Manny.